We've got 3 ambulances out there on the road, and we're called every day for, I don't know, somewhere between 3 and 10 casualties, I suppose. They're all brought initially into the hospital here. First aid is applied or whatever we need to do. If it's something surgical that's required, let's say a fractured leg or anything like that, then we use 7 different vets that work with us to take on the more serious cases. The Fox Project was originally set up as a Wildlife Information Bureau when there really wasn't one. So I suppose with the advent of urban and suburban foxes, where people are seeing them all the time, we felt there was a need for people to understand what the animal was about so they could live with it, basically. Since then, we've developed into a wildlife hospital, which wasn't our intention. And from the first accidental year when we took in 3 cubs, we've now got up to taking about 750 foxes a year into to the system. We operate with 5 members of staff and about 150 volunteers, so it's fairly well manned at all times. There are 3 wildlife ambulances and there are 2 admin staff, and we cope pretty well with that sort of number.
If the fox can be caught, I'll catch it. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, and I don't want anybody to harm the fox. Thank you very much. Have you got a long way to drive? Lewisham.
It's about 35 miles from where I am at the moment.
Yeah, and they've got to, it could go anywhere, we know that. At least the baby would be safe.
But yeah, we'll receive a call from a member of the public or a supporter. We have a large volunteer network which we use. Obviously, if I'm here and I spend a bit of time here, I can't be in Plumstead. And the length of time it takes to drive from here to Plumstead, a fox could disappear. So what I do is I make phone calls to local volunteers who I then use to go and assess the fox and be as quick as possible. If they then attend and catch the fox, I then know it's contained, so I don't have to go charging up the A21 and the M25 to get to a fox that's going to be disappeared when I got there.
Puffer's about 8-9 weeks old. She came in with collapse pretty much, and she was breathing really strangely, like very fast. And we thought at first it was heat stroke because of course we just had a hell of a heat wave, and we treated her accordingly. But it didn't really stop. The puffing, expanding of the ribs really quickly kept on going on, and after a short space of time we found there was an abscess on the ribs which we hadn't spotted, and having now lanced that, the breathing seems to be slowing down, but that's where she got her name from. One of the things we're not happy with is people trying to sort of get them to hand feed. Unfortunately, a lot of people do fall into that trap. It can be easy to do if you've got a very cute animal out there and it's approaching you quite closely because you've been putting out food for it, and now it's becoming a little bit more friendly. So you start putting out your hand with food in it. Bad move, because while it may get used to you and take food from you, it might try and do the same from a stranger, and that stranger may well do it harm, or the fox may snap at their fingers and do them harm, and basically it's your fault for having got it into that situation in the first place. So we're not keen on that at all. Once the animal is back to health again, if it's an adult fox, it always goes back to its home range, its home territory, because we wouldn't put it somewhere else. That's basically reducing its life expectancy by 50% if you do that, so we always put them back where they came from. With cubs, they're in for the duration, they're in for summer, and so we have to group them up into new artificial litters of 5, and those come on. Those become a new family group basically, and they're released on new territories at the end of summer, when they're at the same time as cubs that are wild raised are breaking away from their families. So it's a natural process as much as we can make it one.
The Fox Project bring foxes to us as and when is needed. So if they're very poorly, then they'll be in the hospital wing at the centre, and then when they're wanting to release them or bring them into the programme for release. They'll come to us for 2 or 3 weeks at a time, and then they'll go to their release site eventually. We don't release them here because foxes are very territorial, so they have to go back where they came from.